Hey guys, today we're going to continue with the series on the Scarr cookbook for Bazille. We're going to go into patch number 2 called Additive Waves. So going straight into the cookbook, we can see here additive waves. The map waveforms were created using the Spectralize function introduced in version 1.1.1. Spectralize. Load initial patch and select oscillator 1, tap map instead of cosine. Right-click on map 1 and select reset. Right-click again and select 7. Drag the third bar from the left and the bar on the far right both up to maximum. Then right-click and select Shapes, Spectralize. Map 1 becomes a bell-like waveform consisting of the third and seventh harmonics only. And you can check these against another oscillator in the overtone tune mode. And then it shows a table, which we'll get to in just a minute. So going back to the synth, we'll perform those instructions. We will initialize the synth, select the tap map for our oscillator, go over here to the tap map itself, open it up, right-click, reset, right-click again, select 7, take the third and the one to the far right, or in this case is 7, all the way up, right-click again, go up to Shapes, and then select Spectralize. And this wave shape is now our oscillator. Now what we just did there with the oscillator, creating the bell-like shape, was we selected a certain number of harmonics, in this case 3 and 7, and that was actually using additive synthesis to generate the waveform. So we're giving it some information, in this case 3 and 7 harmonic, and by clicking Spectralize, it generates the waveform for us. To try to help visualize this a little better for those who don't have an understanding of additive synthesis, or maybe it's new to you, I'm going to use Wave Edit to kind of demonstrate this. And this is a wavetable generating program, but it serves for this. So right here I have the first partial, or the first harmonic, selected. That generates one sine wave. Okay. If I were to add another partial in here, or another harmonic, say number 4, and I'm going to remove that number 1, you can see it's the same sine wave, there's just more peaks now. We have 4 instead of just 1. And that's really the essence of additive synthesis, is that we're taking these partials, or these mathematical concepts, if you will, and adding them together. So if we select the first partial, I think that's a volume is what that is. And then we start adding different things. Let's say we add fourth at the same volume. That's going to take that wave that we saw with the 4 peaks and put it on top of, or add it to, the one we have here. So you can see kind of how that one sine wave went up and then it comes down, and then we have those same 4 peaks as we did in the other. Now if we did that with 8, you see the same thing. That form of that sine wave is still there, and now we just have 8 other peaks riding on top of it. And if we combined all 3 of those, you kind of get the combination of that. And that's really what additive synthesis is all about. And the higher you go, the more sine waves you have. And I'll just call it the more fuzzy it gets. Call it that way. So as you can see, that's a whole bunch of them, whatever that number is. and so forth. So anyway, that's the foundation that we're using for this particular exercise. So going back to the cookbook itself, I got you on top, that's why. So I want to see that. There we go. It gives us a table that just kind of gives us some place to start and some ideas of what's happening. First thing we'll notice is the note down at the bottom, and it says the harmonic is equal to the overtone plus 1. And as you can see here, where the harmonic on the left is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, the overtone series is 0, 1, 3, 7, 15. So then he tells us that, by using 9 and 18, we can get a major second. And here are some tuning changes we need to make in order to keep that straight. I believe that's what he's telling us there. Or he's saying that the result of those things will actually raise the pitch by 2 plus 4 cents, which again, you would make the counter adjustment to that. So either way, it's the same thing. And obviously, additive is similar to FM in that sometimes you can generate inharmonic material depending on which partials or harmonics you've selected to make your waveform. So now we're going to take a look at the patch itself and the rest of it, should I say, and see what we have. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to load additive waves. See, now we see we have a more complex bell tone. So let's, as we've done before, isolate our sounds first of all. So I'm going to turn the output of 3 and 4 off by using the volume on the output 2. We already know what oscillator 1 sounds like, so I'm going to turn it off as well. So what we're hearing now is only oscillator 2. So as we turn up oscillator 1, we find here that really it's just a sub for oscillator 1. And then turning those two off and bringing up 3 and 4, that gives us some high-end content. We'll turn off 3. And we'll turn off 4. Okay, so I'm going to reset that patch and now go back to the cookbook, and let's take a look at what we're saying here. For bell-like tones, it's often best to start with either 3 or 5 as the lowest harmonic and then add 1 or 2 higher ones. Try this. Restrict the map to 16 values. Set equal amounts of 5, 6, 10, 12, and 15 and spectralize it. As harmonic 5 is your new fundamental, you will need to tune the oscillator down 4 semitones and up 14 cents. Easiest method, tune it up to 8.14 semitones and use modify mode multiply to transpose down an octave or 2. Try -4. Harmonic 6 and 12 are the new minor third, plus 14 cent, and harmonic 15 is the new fifth, minus 12 cent. The result is a slightly detuned minor triad using just 1 oscillator and no voice stacking. Similarly, harmonics 6, 8, 10, or 8, 10, 12, or 6, 9, 15 will give you 3 possible inversions of that same minor triad. And then he refers to C bases on HS slap 90. So I'll let you do that research as far as the bases in H slap 90. And we will go put this together and see what we end up with. So we need equal amounts of 5, 6, 10, 12, and 15 based on 16. So 5, 6, 10, 12, and 15. So I'm going to initialize this. Tap map. Reset. Select 16. And then we wanted 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 10. Try to zero that out. 12 and 15. 12, 13, 14, 15, something's off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, okay, this is 9. Oh, that's tricky. So now we have 10 and 12. I'm going to get rid of that. And then 15. And we will go to shapes and spectralize that. We get a new bell type waveform. Sounds a little bit out, which is why he wanted us to go up to 8. And I'm going to press, you can see over here on the information screen that I'm using the tune. Now I'm at 8. And I'm going to hold Shift key and use my mouse wheel to count up 14. Okay, now he wanted us to use multiply and then take that down 4. And that's where we hear that triad, I suppose. Definitely multiple notes going on. So that's actually how the first oscillator, I believe, is set up in the patch. And we can take a look at that. And it's not going to take me there then. I got to start over. Added 2 waves. So yeah, as you can see, that's at 814. That's still at just -1. We went down to 4, which is what it referred to in the cookbook. So back to the book. So here it's telling us that, you know, to finish up with the patch, it's saying additive waves uses the minor triad that we just investigated in oscillator 1, a fundamental for oscillator 2, which is acting as the sub that we saw, because the fundamental is 1 partial, and it was tuned down an octave, so that was our sub. And then there's a major triad in oscillator 3 transposed up a minor third, and another major triad, oscillator 4, transposed up a fourth. Now if your music theory is a little weak, or that all seems a bit complicated, again, these are things that you can really dive into if they get your, spark your interest, so to speak. But really here, I think the essence and the point of this particular this particular patch is to show us that, number one, we can generate additive waves with using the map generator as our oscillators, and that it's capable of producing multiple tones. And in this case, he went a little bit further and showed us how we can combine multiples of multiple tones to create a sound, which is what we have here. So hopefully that some of that made sense. It's a lot to swallow, I know. But we'll carry on and hope to see you guys soon. Take care.